And good morning. Welcome to Authentic Life Fellowship on a gorgeous February Sunday morning. I am your pregame to Sunday school, and just like to come on here and greet you and encourage you and share with you some news. Tell you what, while we got a second, let's peek in there on the worship center. All right. Yeah. You see the worship team's finished rehearsing this morning. Now let's peek in and see, is Jeff in his place yet? Nope. Jeff's not there yet. So they'll be getting it going here in a few minutes. But as long as I have you, I hope that you're doing well today. I hope that you're having a wonderful morning. It is absolutely beautiful here at ALF. We have like two places with a little ice left, but other than that, it's all good. And the only people that seem to find the ice are the kids. It's like a magnet. They walk right over to it, and they just cannot help but play on it. Good morning, Viviana. Good to see you. Thank you for being with us this morning. A few things in the way of announcements. Tuesday night, our ladies ministry will be assembling here at ALF. It's food, it's fellowship, it's fun, and it's open to all ladies. Oh, and it's free. And so if you would like to be a part of that, you can find that event on our Facebook. It's going to be a good time. Last month they had to cancel it due to illness, but ready and willing and good to go for Tuesday night. Wednesday night is our regular Wednesday night activities. And if you're not able, or let me back up, if you've not yet plugged in to Wednesday nights, I want to encourage you to do that. We have something for everyone. Our kiddos have Awana. What a great program that is. We have something for our students. And then I meet with our adults beginning at 6:30, and it's a good time. We just dig down a little deeper and a little broader into Sunday's message, and it's just a good time, and I can't encourage you enough. Good morning, Brother Buddy, the mysterious pictureless Facebook user. It's good to see you. Wednesday nights are awesome, and then next Sunday is Super Sunday. There's a game. Perhaps you're excited about it, perhaps you're not. It's okay. But it's an event. And so next Sunday, we have dedicated as Super Sunday. And we're going to invite everyone to wear their favorite football attire. And for Tanya, you can wear wrestling attire if you wish. I don't know if I could teach if you wear a mask. So we might want to leave that off if we could. But it's going to be a great time. We're going to have support your team and morning worship. We're going to establish our 9 o'clock class in the fellowship hall. Josh is going to be heading that up. We're excited to have that coming back. It got contracted back when the virus and all that entails. Also, that afternoon evening, we're going to be having a Super Bowl watching party here on campus. It's just going to be a good time. People getting together, having some food, having some games. We'll have drawings. It's just going to be a good time. So looking forward to just being with people next week. I hope that the game is good. I have a team that I'm pulling for. Who is it, you ask? Well, you'll have to wait and see. I like to keep secrets every now and then. But it's going to be a great day. Looking forward to a great time next week. And I hope that you can be a part of it. Let's see, we peek in. Okay, Brother Jeff is in place. We're going to throw it over to him there in about 4 minutes. And he's doing a great job in this class. And let's see, this is either week 3 or week 4 of his study. And it's a 6-week study. And at the end of that study, then he's going to tag me in. And I will be leading the auditorium class Bible study. And I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. So that's still in the mystery oven. Also, we are probably one lesson away from finishing up our study on Joshua. Good morning, Brother David Day from the Great White North. Grip it and rip it, my friend. Glad to have you. But we're about to finish up our study of Joshua. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Looking forward to our next chapter. I have some ideas, and I know you'd like to know what they are, but I'm not going to tell you. but we'll begin that soon enough. It's going to be good, good, good. We've got great things going on. It's an exciting time here at ALF, and just want to say thank you to everyone that's joining us by the internet today. We appreciate you. Um, it's a wonderful ministry, and in the worship service, I've put a map in my notes, and I've I've indicated where I know that people join us from here in the U.S. and overseas. And if you are with us and you see the map and your state isn't represented, or maybe your country, if you drop us a note, I'd love to give you a little respect, show you a little love on our map. I am truly humbled and truly blessed at the number of people and the number of places that call ALF home on Sundays and Wednesdays. You're a blessing to us, and it's just a wonderful thing. I can't help but imagine what in the world could Paul have accomplished if he had all of the wonderful tools that we possess today. He truly would have been incredible. I mean, he's incredible without them, and imagine all that he could have accomplished with them. Checking over here on my Facebook, make sure I'm not missing someone. Good morning, Samuel. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday School. Glad that you're here. All right. Well, we are getting close to time. We're going to toss it over to Brother Jeff here in just a moment. And I hope that you have a wonderful Sunday school class. I hope that you'll add your thoughts, ideas, comments, cries of outrage, fits of anger over in the comments, and we'll share those. And I will be back at the close of Sunday school just to pray with you and to wrap up our time together. But for now, I'm going to step away and turn you over to Brother Jeff as he leads our auditorium Bible Well, guys, I apologize. We're having just a little bit of technical difficulty. So give us just a moment. We're working to bring Brother Jeff's mic up. For some reason, it is being uncooperative at this moment. So we'll keep an eye on him here, and as soon as he comes back, as soon as we see that his mic's gone live, we'll throw you back into the worship center. That's pretty funny right there. Technology is beautiful when it works, isn't it? Isn't it? So we'll give it just a moment here. I know that they are in the soundboard currently working on a solution. I am looking at our security camera in the worship center, and I can see them working the process. Let me back out and see if we've got it.
Situations, but we can't use that and apply it to every time we become angry. So keep that in mind. So who has Mark 3, 1 through 5?
While in Capernaum, Jesus went over to the synagogue again and noticed a man there with a deformed hand. Since it was the Sabbath, Jesus' enemies watched him closely. Would he heal the man's hand? If he did, they planned to arrest him. Jesus asked the man to come and stand in front of the congregation. Then turning to his enemies, he asked, "Is it right to do these deeds on the Sabbath days? Or is this a day for doing harm? Or is this a day for harm. Is it a day to save lives or destroy them? But they wouldn't answer him. Looking around on them angrily, he was deeply disturbed by their indifference to human needs. He said to the man, "Reach out your hand." And he did, and instantly his hand was healed.
So here we have, an individual that needs healing. It's do you heal on the Sabbath or not? So he's having to deal with all that mess that'd make you angry enough, I guess. But so here we have, just doing good for someone. It made Christ angry because they were just questioning whether or not this man could be healed or not. So sometimes when people are in need, it could make us a little angry when those needs aren't met, or we can have some righteous indignation or something like that we want to reach out and try and help. So here we have his question not whether or not Christ could heal on the Sabbath. This man was suffering, needed healing. Christ was there, could do it. So sometimes when needs can be met of individuals, but they're not met for some reason, it might make us a little angry sometimes because those needs aren't met. I was at the, I'll tell you, all the warm clothes went pretty quick from the blessings box this week. I was up here and I was seeing a couple people getting them, which was great. So sometimes when you find those needs and we do it, that's great. But sometimes we can find ourselves or find society not taking care of things that need to be taken care of, and we can get a little upset about that at times. But I think we said, I don't know if I said this last week or if I'm supposed to say this at the end of this week. I can't remember which one, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes when we see needs or we see things in society, we just pray about it. But sometimes we need to do something about it. Praying is great. Praying is awesome. Praying is powerful. All that is needed. But sometimes we just have to get up and do sometimes, as well. So let's remember that. All right, so who has John 2:13 through 16? Yeah, so, they've turned, the church into a place of business. So if we come up in here this morning and, or we have communion Sunday or it's baptism and I'm hawking T-shirts out in the foyer for Jacob and saying, hey, get your spiritual tea on this morning. And it says, communion Sunday or whatever it says on there. Or, I have to charge you an entry fee to come in. You might be a little upset. Josh might be overturning some tables. That's it. We'll see. So Christ got a little, indignant about that. But a certain kind of anger is good. It's justified at times, especially when we see injustices in the world, when we see someone that is not being, where their needs are not being met, when others are being mistreated, whatever the case is. And it is, maybe we are good and justified to do something about that. And sometimes we might have a righteous anger about us when we're doing it. However, when we do those things, that assumes that our heart is right with the Lord. And as I said earlier, most of the time, though, our anger is not in line with what, our hearts are not, in line with the Lord. When that person cuts us off in traffic and we show them our favorite finger, we're probably not in line with the Lord. Dude, look at her. Not me. Oh, I thought you were showing me your favorite finger. No. I'm just kidding. Do it. You can see all of them. So, like I said, that, the kid that won't listen, or, the spouse that won't listen, like me, or whatever the case is. But why do we get angry? Do what? Yeah, we don't get our way. Sometimes we just don't get our way. What else? They're not, if they just listen to you, right? Just listen to you. So we're going to do this little personal assessment of anger, but I don't really want you to answer out loud. I mean, you can if you want, but I don't know if we have time for counseling this morning. How long does it take for you to feel angry during a difficult or offensive situation? Is it hours or is it seconds? So can you go 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds? Yes, I can. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll try and assess if we have an anger. And I can remember, I would hope that, Melinda would attest to this, but, I was probably more volatile in my younger years than I am now. Maybe just because I'm just lazy and don't care now. I don't know. But it is harder to get. We're doing these burpees. She's challenged me for these burpees for breast cancer thing. Lord, why did you give me these stomach muscles I didn't know existed? Yeah, but I missed a day, so I had to do 50 last night. Yeah, the Lord has given me muscles I didn't know existed. So, all right, so how often in a typical month do you feel something close to rage? Is it no times, or is it, more than 3 to 5 times? Do you get, like you're just going to just explode? I've told you 15 times not to do that or to do that. When was the last time that you deeply regretted actions taken or words spoken? Was it a few days ago or a few years ago? I can remember a very specific time, and it still haunts me today, where I said a few things to my own son that I still regret today. I did apologize right then. So sometimes anger can get the best of us if we're not careful. We need to learn from it, right? So thankful that wasn't like yesterday.
There's a difference between the emotion of anger and then our response to that emotion. So, there's different people that have different personalities. I'm not saying that it can't change or things that bother you stop bothering you as you mature or anything like that. But at the same point in time, isn't part of that maturity just learning how to deal with that emotion and not let it control you like you're talking about, or let it where you don't have to respond to it?
Yeah, so the question is, how do we just, things that bother us kind of bother us. And as we get more mature, and I'll just kind of fast forward a little bit, and we'll go ahead and touch on this now, which is great, is that we know what our triggers are. We know what makes us angry for the most part. So what are we doing as we mature as believers? Do we have a plan in place to kind of keep that in check? So if we know that, we have this long commute, thank the Lord I don't have it anymore, but if you drive in traffic and at this particular off-ramp or on-ramp, somebody's going to cut you off, just prepare for that. And why do you deal with that every single morning? You get up at 4:30 every morning, you're on the streets, and if there's something on your path to work that makes you upset, just you have something to deal with it. And I think, Josh, that's a part of, our maturity is understanding what those trigger points are. If you know that you're going to be short with the kids for some reason, try not to put yourself in that particular situation. And that is hopefully now obviously, pray for that situation, plan for that situation. If it comes up every day, try and change it where you don't have that, every single time. But yeah, we can't control the circumstances or the situation, but we can very much control our reaction to that situation. Easier said than done. Believe me, pointing at myself before I'm talking to anyone else. But the heart of the problem, and why do we get angry is, and it's kind of touched on earlier, sometimes we feel like that we should be listened to. We feel that we shouldn't be mistreated. We feel that our rights have been violated. We feel all these things. And, the sort of the root of the problem is, our anger is a deeper commitment to our own rights and our own self than it is to anything else. And, it might be a hard pill to swallow, but, when we get angry all the time, it's because we feel that we're being mistreated. We feel that we're not being listened to. We feel that we're being mistreated. There is righteous and indignant or dignified anger, as we talked about some of these things, especially with social injustices or whatever the case is, or people aren't being treated right, or you want to stand up for someone or something like that, or some cause, that those things are fine. But you know what? It doesn't give you right to go bomb an abortion clinic just because you're pro-life, right? So there are other ways to take care of that. All right. So why do we get angry? Dallas Willard said, "There is nothing that can be done with anger that cannot be done better without it." I wish that I had learned that a lot sooner in life. And still learning it, by the way. 23 through 24 says, let me read it again. It says, "Therefore, if you are presenting your offering to the altar, and there you remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and present your offering." So here we see where, Jesus is not only dealing with, anger is a heart issue. Murder is just not the physical act of taking someone else's life. It's an issue within our heart. Have you ever done this or heard that or had this done to you? I'm sorry, but. So whenever we're trying to reconcile relationships and we say I'm sorry, we want to add. Why do we say, "Yeji, I'm sorry, but"? What would come after that word "but"? Yeah, I'm trying to justify why I got angry at Yeji. I'm not angry at Yeji, but say it.
Say the word.
Scripture does say "fool" and "moron" in here. I guess you can calm down. When we want to reconcile, a relationship, sometimes we'll say "I'm sorry," but we just want another opportunity to tell that person why we got angry, so we can justify that situation. "I'm sorry, but you rolled your eyes one more time," or "I'm sorry, but this is why I got angry, because I felt like you weren't listening to me," or whatever the case is. We always want to fill something in. We always want to qualify something. What do you think about this statement here that our reconciliation with one another is more important than our worship? Than our worship.
Well, I mean, that's Old Testament. God says, I'd rather have mercy than sacrifice. That's throughout Scripture.
Yeah.
I think that is worshiping when you forgive, because whenever, I just read a scripture this week that said, if you don't forgive, who's not going to forgive you? So, that's
Also the heart that we have with people are not forgiving someone without
Yeah, Yeji said it's the heart that we come to worship. If we're trying to come worship, but yet we're unwilling to forgive someone else, we're worshiping a forgiving God, right? So, Scott, were you going to say something?
Oh, it's just that it always touches on forgiveness. A much deeper subject than sounds on the surface. It touches everything. It's like
Absolutely.
sin. Control your life. Control all your responses.
Yeah.
Come between you and everybody you love.
Yeah, we'll touch on, keep that thought, kind of the third point is, that reconciliation part. But, it takes a few things for us to, and that is very interesting, this passage, and is that we need to get our relationships right with one another if we expect to have a relationship with the Lord. Listen, God doesn't move. We're the ones that's moving, but our fellowship as believers can be hindered when we don't have those relationships reconciled. So one of the challenges this week to each one of us is going to be, is there a relationship, is there a situation you need to get right? And I'm going to encourage you to do that. It could be something that just happened last week. It could be something that happened 10 years ago or 50 years ago. But it hinders our worship. if we don't do that. And we need to be proactive in resolving conflict. If we are going to stand out in this world, if believers are going to stand out and be distinct, we have to take the lead in resolving conflict. We have to take the lead in initiating that reconciliation process. First of all, we need to be honest about the situation and, really assess the situation and be willing to not only speak truth, but hear truth as well. Because sometimes we're more willing to talk about what we feel in that relationship that's gone sour, but not listen to our own part. Because there's usually two sides to every story, and there's usually two issues to every story. So we should be honest about the situation. We need to be humble and just understand that, maybe there's just a need to understand our part in the particular issue, and forgiveness is something that we need to understand and realize. God forgives us. God forgave me this week. I mean, I'm already forgiven. But what I'm saying is that, we sin more often than we should, right? But God's forgiveness is there through the blood of Christ.
Do you think some of the difficulties we have in thinking about our own sin, and God forgiving us, is sometimes we don't really think about our sin as a sin against God. So I think we get it when we hurt each other. Like, obviously, I said this mean thing to Jared, and I need to go ask for forgiveness. But I don't know. I think sometimes I have a difficulty in realizing that your sin is actually against God.
Yeah, so the question is, do we realize that our sin is against God? And no, I don't think we do. It's easy for us to recognize sometimes the issues we have with one another. And if I was going to come in here and, blaspheme God or something, well, yeah, that's a sin against God. Or I can say, shake my fist in his face, and, I can grasp that. But if, Tim and I have some issue, it's just an issue between Tim and I. That's what we think sometimes. But no, God is saying, listen, my reconciliation with Tim, if there was brokenness there in fellowship, is more important than my worship. I need to go get that right, and that is worship. So my relationship with the Lord can be right. So, yeah. All right, the last section here is 25 through 26. It says, "Come to good terms with your accuser quickly, while you are with him on the way to court, so that your accuser will not hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you will not be thrown into prison. Truly I say to you, you will not come out of there until you have paid up the last quadrans," or it's a very small portion of a daily wage is a quadrant. But so first reading this, you might think, oh man, you're just getting right so you don't go to jail. It says, when you're on your way with him to court, come to good terms. So we have to be careful that we don't reconcile relationships falsely just to get something out of it. But that's not what's being taught here. What's being taught here is we're not to put off reconciliation. We're to do it swiftly, immediately, quickly. And why do you think we're getting counsel here to reconcile relationships as quickly as we can? The longer you let it go, the bigger the problem seems. Yeah, absolutely. Did someone else say something?
Because we're not promised tomorrow.
Oh, good one. We're not promised tomorrow. Yeah. Very good one. And plus, and I'll just pick on Tim again. I'm not picking on you, but you're right there, Tim.
Do it.
So, if Tim and I had an issue for some reason, I'm going to say Tim did me wrong because, But if we would let that go, every time I saw Tim in church, it'd be like, God, man, what's that jerk doing here? Yeah. Or every time Tim says something, I said, idiot. It just starts. It gets deeper and starts festering, right? And there's nothing that Tim could do. Everything he does, I'm going to criticize because I'm angry at him. So the longer we let it go, the harder it is to reconcile. And I don't want to show a hand or nothing, but there's probably, relationships or issues that are probably long-standing. I mean, we're all human, right? And we all have difficult lives at times. So, the longer it goes, the harder it gets. But reconciliation can be very sweet, can be very calming. And when we say that, so Tim wronged me in this situation. If I was to go to Tim, if we're going to be distinct in this world as a believer, I should go to Tim and try and make that right. I don't have to wait on Tim. He's the one that wronged me. Sometimes I say, I didn't do anything. Tim's got to call me.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, you're going to drag somebody else in it.
That's right.
And then somebody else is going to be looking funny, and this thing is going to turn into a...
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right. So, but if I go and try and reconcile with Tim, I can't control how Tim reacts to that, can I?
no.
We would hope that it would be positive, but if Tim just says, I said what I said, man, and you're a jerk and you'll always be a jerk, and that's just the way it is. You sit over there and I'll sit over here, all's good. That could be... Yeah, I know, yeah. I know. You see, no one can read anything into it because it's Tim. Tim's not going to do that. Tim will be up there moving the camera to be like right on my nose, and it'll be zoomed in. Yeah. So the earlier the better. And unity is important. So, because as Roddy was saying, I bring someone else in it, Tim brings someone else in it, and before long you've got, a church split going on, and you can't get the softball team back together. None of this stuff going on.
In the parking lot.
Yeah, a couple flat tires. So unity is very important. So, and unity demands urgency. The Lord is saying here, He's telling us, do it quickly. Don't let these things fester. Don't let that anger or bitterness take root. It takes a little time for things to take root. When you got that little weed that's growing up in the yard, you can just go out and pull it right out pretty easy, right? But if you let that sit there, it gets pretty big. What is that stuff we get in our yards? It's kind of prickly.
Right there, right here.
What is that? Man, that stuff's... And when you pull it, it's kind of milky, the stalk. Milkweed. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Milkweed. That stuff's hard to get at. But anyway, Josh gave me a little bit of... I asked him a question this week. So depending on, and I'm not going to get all, I'm not smart enough, but you can expound on this if you want. But I was kind of wondering what was the timeline between what was going on here and the cross. And I think you said anywhere between 6 months and a couple of years. So it's relatively short period of time. There's a lot going on, and Jesus had a lot to do, I guess, but he is God. But one of the things that he's teaching us here is that reconciliation and unity is something that we need to take seriously. And he's thinking about this. He's thinking about his church. He's thinking about his people. And why does the church need to be unified? Not only this church, but the church in general. Why do we need to be unified as a people?
Well, obviously it's because we represent Christ to the world, but I mean, back then it'd be a lot more practical because, at this point there's no church but synagogues.
Yeah.
But even when the early church starts, in a small town, there's one church. I think it's a lot harder now because at Greenville there's 30,000 people and 50 churches or whatever. A lot of times when there's conflict, somebody just leaves. That conflict never gets resolved. So I think even today we have to be more intentional about, dealing with that kind of stuff and not letting those things happen. Because I think it's easier to just hide behind a keyboard or go to another church and then it's just out there.
Yeah. And last week we talked about being salt and light, right? It's hard for us to be that light, that beacon, that seasoning in the world when we can't get along with one another.
Paul says Christians aren't supposed to sue each other. He says it's pretty clear in Corinthians.
Not to sue each other? Yeah.
Take each other to court.
Yeah, I need to borrow a few dollars if y'all don't mind. So yeah, so when we but the church, under the banner of Christ, a church that's moving in the right direction, and under the lordship of Christ, can bring people together with so many diverse backgrounds, so many diverse, whether it be socioeconomic backgrounds or just different ways that we have been brought up, but can bring us under a banner for a common goal, which is the gospel, of Christ, and can keep us unified in such a way that should be, miraculous in this world, today, and a unified church will point to the gospel for sure. So let me close out with our little 3 action points for this week, and I encourage you to think about these, do these things. I hope you are. When we come and we study God's Word, it's just not about listening, it's actually applying and doing, and I hope that we are applying some of these things. All right, so for us to take the lead in resolving conflict. Anger, we need to recognize as an issue of the heart. Most of us are not going to have an issue with going out and killing somebody this weekend. But it could be a heart issue
Monday's
also.
coming.
But Monday's coming, that's right. So take control over anger. Again, know what situations make you angry. Have a plan before you get there. If it's, Tuesday at 7:30 because there's a lot of homework, and Tuesdays is a tough day at work, and it's laundry day, and it's whatever it is going on at the house. Well, kick laundry to another day and then give you a little bit more time, whatever the case is. Prepare your heart and mind ahead of time. That's kind of an easy part, right? Recognize what makes you angry and then say, okay, here's my plan to deal with it. This is what I plan to do. I'm going to, I see, every time I get angry, I'm going to eat a little donut. And then when Carrie and I gain 50 pounds, we'll know, God, they have anger problems. Learn to say you're sorry without any qualifications. When it's time to reconcile, don't add that but on the end.
That's the hardest thing.
It is hard.
And it's harder to do with family than it is with other people.
Yeah, but it gets right back down to because we want everyone to know why we were wronged. We're more interested in our own. So say sorry this week if you need to without qualification. And third, seek reconciliation. Examine those relationships. If there's a need to reconcile, I encourage you to do it. And again, the response of that reconciliation of the other individual you cannot control. And they may reject you, but you've done what you need to do. So, all right. Anything before we close? I'm 2 minutes over. All right. Thank you online. Appreciate you joining us this morning. And we'll see you back here in a few minutes.
Jimmy's already been talking for 2 minutes.
Well, like Jeff said, thank you so much for taking the time and making the effort to be with us. Brother Jeff did a great job about resolving issue and anger. And you know why it's so important? The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers. Now, that doesn't mean that God calls us to be a doormat to the world, but God does call us to be a reconciler, a peacemaker. Why? Well, because God is a reconciler. He gave his one and only Son that a world tainted with and dying in its sin could have a renewed and restored relationship with him. You will never be more Christ-like than when you're a peacemaker. And so we're going to look at the importance of unity. Jeff touched on it in the class, and we're going to see the antithesis of the value and the importance of unity in our 10 o'clock Bible study, where we look at the events after the victory at Jericho. A man once said, you're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. But the challenge that you and I face is this. In Christ, we are more than conquerors, so long as we are walking with the Lord and not against him. And we're going to look at that in the next hour. Thank you again for taking the time to be here. We hope that this has blessed you. We hope that this has encouraged you. And I want to invite you to get up, go potty up, go get caffeinated up, and come back and join us either in person or here online beginning at 10 o'clock, where we'll worship and celebrate together. I hope to see you soon. Be well, be blessed, and let's do all that we can to help others remain well as well. Until then, I'll see you soon.